I was thinking of getting my hair dyed on the inside. Show me your love, why don't ya? Go up and say, show me your love, why don't ya? Go up and say, show me your love, why don't ya? Hi everyone, welcome to a new vlog. I am currently doing some comp prep for MCM London, which is next week and well, it starts on Friday. It's a 3-day convention, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm leaving for London on the Tuesday, and so I have to get everything ready. Today is Sunday, so I have to get everything ready by tomorrow evening. I think I'm on track. So I only really printed a couple of new things. I did film some footage of my stickers that arrived the other day, and I am waiting for bookmarks, which I am praying will arrive tomorrow, but they might not, so I might have to do some voodoo magic and have it sent over during the week whilst I'm in London. But for now, I'm just cutting out some price tags that I will have on the table. I'm sharing a table this time with my friend. It was somewhat unexpected that I would do this convention because I didn't actually apply myself for this convention. My friend applied, and then she got a table and asked me if I would join her. I was going to say my location, but I realized I'm probably going to upload this after the event. But yes, this vlog will have a mixture of things. I don't want to make it too convention heavy because the last vlog was also about convention, but I also do enjoy like traveling and documenting all of that aspect, so it'll be a mixture. But yeah, I also might be moving to London as well, so that's a whole thing I might have to update you on in the future. Things have been somewhat chaotic for me the last few years, so it's been very difficult to have some sort of consistency in terms of the vlogs especially. It's funny because I did mention before that I was going to take, back in 2020, I'll probably insert the clip actually, back in 2020 I said this. I'm just going to talk to you from my perspective on this, but basically I think for me I want to create longer term projects because in the short term, sure, I might be away and absent for quite a long time and my accounts might stagnate and the algorithm might change and I might completely like fall off the face of the planet or whatever, and that's a risk I'm kind of willing to take because in the long run, for me personally, I really want to create these projects and bring them to life and be able to say that I set out to do what I wanted to do, because they do take a lot of time to create. I know that if I live in the paradigm of constant growth by posting a lot of art and like quick drawings, in the short run, sure, my account might grow, but in the long run I won't have those projects to show for. Like they wouldn't exist, they just won't exist. And for what I want to do, I know that by creating these longer term projects, they will eventually like pay off, but it's like we're talking about years here rather than like weeks or months. Hey, well, the AI is watching me, we'll see how far I get. So it's not too much of a surprise that I have stepped away and that my uploads have become less frequent, and I do accept like that I have fallen off the face of the earth a little bit, but obviously I've been like working on my longer projects, which is like what I wanted to do and what I wanted to shift my focus towards. I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to do that, but now I have to kind of balance things out again because it's great to be working on a project, but you also, especially if you're an indie artist like me, have to promote and like market the thing for people to know that it exists. And so that's kind of why I want to bring in a bit more consistency to this channel again and keep it rolling for a little bit, hopefully. But I do not want it to deviate from my comic work, which is what I'm a bit fearful of, because that's kind of what happened to me before and is why I wanted to take a break initially, and also a host of other reasons why I had to kind of take a break. I was almost forced to take a break because of my personal situation, but that's kind of slowly something I've come to learn to live with. I've been able to gain more energy over the last year or so to be able to work on my comic, focus all my energy on that, and also start to post more and show, like, put myself out there again, because I feel like I always do this where I self-sabotage and then hold myself back by not putting myself out there, and I'm kind of tired of it, not gonna lie. I feel like I really just need to try and do my best, and that's all I can really do. Yes, thank you for still being here if you are a long-term viewer. I do really appreciate everyone's support. Everyone who supports me on Patreon, everyone who buys from my shop, or who even just follows me on SNS. I appreciate you all. And yeah, I'm looking forward to launch the comic and finally share some stuff with you again. I'm attempting to film my Cintiq as I use it. Right now, I'm working on Key's character sheet. So for me, I want to make sure I have the color scheme down and his general vibe. So I guess with Key, he's quite established already. He's always had this yellow and black and this pale blue / grey color scheme. And I'm leaning heavily on the black, which I recognize as something that I tend to do a lot with all of my OCs. I have John over here. This is the alt version that I didn't post on my Twitter account. His design is also mostly dark and black. I like very simple color schemes for characters. It's just a personal taste thing rather than it being good or bad, or like good design sense or anything like that. Same with Key, like he's got more colors than John, but his hair is black, so it's still quite simple. I think I'm just gonna lean into it. Yeah, the only criteria it has to match is that it suits my own sensibilities. And right now I'm just gonna add in the small shading details. So I'm cell shading mostly with hints of gradients and a bit of blurring here and there. I do have another image where he's wearing this hoodie and I don't know if I should make it consistent yet. I suppose I should, just for continuity's sake, but yeah. I'm still deciding on the shoes as well. This is a bad angle, I am so sorry. I'm having some green tea. Oh, I'm also plugged into my tabmate. I wanted to have a label there, like that, right? But I have 2 stripes on this side, so I have to be careful with that type of thing. I'm really bad with how I do flats right now because I just use this close and fill tool, and it's definitely not the best thing because my lines aren't super clean. I need to get someone to flat for me. Yeah, this is how zoomed out I will work. It's actually kind of bizarre. He has a capsule wardrobe like all my OCs. I really like the shapes of these jeans and I'm just gonna let you marvel in them for a little while because I literally redrew these pants like 5 times before I reached these ones. I also enjoy just drawing the very simple, simple straight leg type of pants, so yeah, sometimes he'll wear those. Okay, I'm taking a break, managed to spill tea all over myself, and also remembered that I haven't done today's Wordle. That's why sometimes it's not good to get just like a few words in order. Oh, I'm so tempted to make that black. The urge to make everything black is so strong. Just gonna do a little colouring of the line so I don't do not too much. Okay, I'm gonna add multiply layer, clip that, and use this round brush. No, sorry, textured soft brush. It's too heavy. I'm just gonna throw the whole thing into shadow. I have gotten kind of into artists who use really interesting brushwork. But yeah, it's still something I need to explore. I'm considering to add certain details, but I'm also like, think about it, Sush, you're gonna have to do this for whichever panels you draw these certain elements in, so do you really want to add that detail? Very tempting to make his shoes black and yellow. Here goes nothing. Oh, that's so much better. Yeah, keep the sole white. Maybe add that yellow accent. God, you're gonna kill yourself when you draw this comic. Or maybe black accent. think I gave Key this type of shoe way back before, but I think the sole was black. Yeah, so look, black sole, black laces. Nah, I like the white sole. Yeah, I'm gonna take a break. I can feel myself just getting design fatigue. My brain, too many decisions. Hi, so I'm just starting my day and thought I'd record a short clip about the writing process because I haven't really documented any of it on film. I work in sessions of about 2 hours, so I'll be writing every day for 2 hours in the morning, and that just kind of gives me this like steady flow of work that's being created, rather than doing like a lot in one day and then not doing anything like the next day. And I find this is like a really good pace for me. Outside of doing the writing itself, I'm like researching and learning more about the craft and doing the visual development for the comic as well, and then like teaching and all these other things. That's kind of been my day-to-day work the past probably 9 or 10 months. It's been quite consistent too, and this is somewhat the first time I've been working in this way, where I'm not sure if there's a term for it, but it's like slow productivity, I suppose. If you know of Cal Newport and his work, he talks a lot about this term where we set our time frames to like a longer scale. So for me, with this project, I know I'm going to be working on it for probably more than 5 years, so I'm not rushing around thinking that I have to get everything done in one day or like stressing out too much. I've set my work up in a way that I am allowed to control my schedule quite freely, and it just works for me. I like the idea of just like steadily chipping away at something, and then once it's complete, it's finished, it's done, and then it can be released out into the world. And even with like my illustration process at the moment and things like that, I used to work in a way where I would set a deadline and squander all my time until like the last minute and then just push right at the end to get it done. It's too stressful to work that way now, so I feel like this other approach is a lot better. It sounds very obvious, but I suppose when you have full control, you need like a framework for your working habits, because if you work for someone else, that type of framework is usually set and like put in place for you. You can't necessarily choose when your deadlines are, when your meetings are, when you have to answer to other people, and when you have to hand in work, things like that. But when you're working in this type of career, you have to be very mindful about how you're working in the short term and how it will compound over a long period of time. But yes, what was I going to say? So we're working in this way. It's been quite a relaxing and enjoyable process, to be honest. I started thinking about working this way around 2019, 2020. I talked a little bit about it on the vlog, but because I hadn't put in the systems yet, I was still kind of like figuring out how to make myself disciplined enough to follow through. But I first started to hear about these working styles from people like Seth Godin and I can't remember his name. He's a writer. He wrote a book called A Writer's Time, and he also talks about this, where you set a timer for your sessions each day, and then as long as you hit that timer, then you're good. You can like, you know, you can just stop there and then wait until the next day to carry on. And I try and do a similar thing now with my art, although I often get very immersed in the art process, so I quite often go over my timer. Whereas with writing, it's not that I don't enjoy writing. I actually enjoy writing just as much as I enjoy drawing, but it takes much more brain power for me. So when I get to the 1 hour and 2 hour mark, I'm very much like, okay, I'm ready to stop now. But I think that's a good thing in a way, because then I'm more refreshed for the next day. My bowl cut hair. So at the moment, I'm currently teaching a mentorship. I did one previously last year, and then I opened up another one for this year, and it's a group mentorship. So we are in a small like 4-member group. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoy teaching actually. I just feel like it's nice to be able to help somebody on their journey and to show them like, oh, maybe it's like certain methods or ways of thinking that they've not really considered before, and just open them up to different ideas. So I want to be able to continue teaching in the future. It's just whether or not this whole project is gonna like eat up my life, which I'm very self-aware about. I try and keep as much of a balance as I can when it comes to like work-life balance. I'm actually very happy with how I have developed this schedule for myself over time. It's not something that came straight away. It's been like a process of getting to this point, because at first it was, you know, a lot more hit and miss. Like I would be less consistent, but over time, like I definitely moved through a lot of blockages that were stopping me from being able to work this way. And now I think I'm pretty disciplined in not in a restrictive way. I feel like actually sticking to my schedule allows me more freedom, because I'm actually doing the things I want to do because I set my own schedule. So yeah, in a way, if I don't stick to the schedule, I'm being like controlled by my mind and like these maybe other factors, external factors, because then I'm doing things that I actually don't want to do, which is not what freedom is. So it's like paradoxical in that way. I thought I would just explain that. I'm currently working on solidifying the outline for the script before I dive into the dialogue and writing the script itself. I've been on this part of the process for quite some time because I just keep changing things, and I have quite a lot of characters, so I feel like this whole project has become bigger than I anticipated. I'm unable to imagine the scale of it, even in terms of pages and like length of the script, because I've not done this process before. So this type of outline, it's not super short or long. There's about, yeah, there's over 100 scenes right now, and some of them are short, some of them are a lot longer. Yeah, overall, I don't know if a scene would really constitute to a chapter. I don't think it would work like that for me. As I'm writing this, I imagine like, oh, I'll have like a short scene at the start of the chapter and then go into a longer scene. But yeah, like all of this is just so new to me that I don't know how to judge it. But yeah, I'm working through this outline and I have it pretty much from start to finish now, which I mean I've left it a few days to give myself a bit of time away so that I can look at it again with like fresher eyes and a fresher mind. And so I'm about to reread it, and I'm hoping for the best, but I know there's like a few things I have to add and clarify, and problems that with the story that I have to fix or add more material to. The process has been funny because it's good to actually choose a genre straight off the bat for what you're writing, because then it dictates how the process goes. But for me, like I've been very torn about how or like what genre my story is, and I know it's mostly drama with a little bit of romance, although it's kind of not really. And yeah, there's a lot of other elements in it because it is technically a side story to another story that I have. And at times it's been hard because I've had to almost write two stories simultaneously, or at least write the story in a way where I don't shoot myself in the foot before I write my other stories. Like I was focusing so much on my other story because I had to delve into a bit of the details there, and then I realized like I'm not gonna finish this one in time if I'm just gonna continue this way. So I had to kind of just be like, all right, this is my main focus right now, and if there are certain things that happen to throw a spanner in my other story, then I'm just gonna have to deal with it and figure it out like later. I don't think there's anything that would be too hard to work around. at this moment, because I don't delve into like huge details on some of the characters who are more of the main characters in the other story, in the second story. I wanted this story to revolve around my overseas junki. Having to keep that in mind has been a little bit hard because a lot of the other characters have a lot going on, but I'm trying not to disclose too much about what they're actually up to because it doesn't serve this story. It doesn't serve the relationship between junki necessarily, but I know it's there in the background, so I'm kind of just wondering what to keep, wondering what to take out, which is why it detracts away from it being like a romance or a BL or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it's fun though. So the last few years I have been kind of moving away from just focusing on art and learning new types of skills, and writing has been one of them. And I feel like being a beginner at something is so rewarding in a way where, because you're so unaware of like how much you need to learn, you just have this overconfidence. I think with me and writing, I've had somewhat of a head start with the mindset side of it, because I have brought all those types of mindset lessons that I learned from pursuing art into the writing process, and so it really does help me let go of like the expectation of what I'm writing to be good, or to be able to not get attached to what I've written and easily throw things away and let go of ideas and kind of mess around and edit everything as like without having any like of the frustration that could come along with that if you were like a young writer and just starting out on these types of endeavors. Because with art, I've obviously been through all of those things, but come to understand how to deal with them and to trust the process and yeah, like not get too attached to pretty much anything I'm making, knowing that I could make it better. So I really feel like that served me quite well in being able to work in this style in this way. Whether or not my writing's actually any good, I don't know. I'm like very new to it, so that part of it I'm very much a beginner in. But yeah, thought I'd come on, talk about the process a little bit and get down to some work. I have been trying out a lot of different processes, like things like this on the wall, and I've been using different types of apps and writing a lot on paper, and then also typing a lot. I feel like I finally found a process that works for me after 8 months. So yeah, going forward, when I move on to my next story, I feel like I know where I would begin now compared with how I approached this one, because a lot of this one was just like fumbling around with ideas for quite a few months. I'm just procrastinating now, can you tell? Alright, I'm gonna start my 60-minute timer. I have 60 minutes, have a little break, then another 60 minutes, and then that's it. That's me for the day. Sometimes I will do another session, so I think for the next month or so I will be doing 2 sessions a day, so up to 4 hours, which I don't know if it's doable for me because I start getting the itch to draw around lunchtime. Because I was writing a journal for my Patreon, even if I had already had a writing session in the morning, I would have to sit down and write something in the afternoon, and that kind of broke my brain. Somehow the journal is much harder to write than this, like the comic, which doesn't make sense, but in a way, in the journal, it's not like a typical diary. It's very I don't know, I suppose that I write a lot of the ideas, like how I'm speaking to you right now. I write a lot of these ideas out, and then I have to kind of structure them in a way where they make sense and I'm able to communicate them clearly, but at the same time I have a very weird style. It's not necessarily that easy to digest. It takes a lot of time to write. Like the energy and time I was using to produce those articles or journals were just like so much more than I had anticipated, and it really kind of just ate into my schedule. So I feel like I'm not really able to do that right now. It's much easier for me to just stream of consciousness, talk to you on the camera, or to just, you know, draw. I want to draw. I want more time to draw. So yeah, this is why I'm stopping the journal. yeah, okay. Alright, I think I'm ready now to dive into this and hoping that it makes sense, that I've thought about everything I need to. Okay. Although I know in a way that this outline right now does not have to be perfect. It's a working outline. It can evolve, it can change. Even as I'm drawing the thing, it will probably change as I realize I have to add certain things and change the pacing, or, you know, move things around. So I'm not going to be too precious about it. If it's working-ish right now, that's so good for me, and I'm going to dive into the script and write the first few chapters, and then I'm going to start storyboarding those chapters, and then I'm going to start at the actual production. However, I still have a few pre-production visual development and character designs to do, and environment designs. I'm quite certain that I will have the first chapter out by December, which has been my goal since last year. So I did set kind of a very rough outline to have the comic released, the first chapter released by December 2022. It's just that I decided to spend a bit more time with the outline because it wasn't where I wanted it to be, because I expected to have it finished around March, but then April rolled around, and then May, and then June, and I was just like, I think I need a bit more time. And I've been rewriting it and just learning more about the craft and trying to improve certain aspects of it. And so I think just putting in those extra few months has helped a lot, and in the long run will serve me better than if I am being really stubborn about having to release it in December and sacrificing the quality of the writing. Again, I don't know if the writing's going to be good. It's just better than it would have been otherwise. Yeah, pretty happy with this right now, at least, and satisfied. So if I have to delay the launch, then I'm more comfortable with that decision than the other way around. And I like to go at my own pace, so I feel like you can't rush things sometimes. Like, you just gotta let it have the space it needs. But at the same time, I know that being consistent is good, and like working to deadlines can be good too, and it's kind of like a balancing act that I'm gonna have to figure out. Because yeah, I could release the first chapter in December potentially, right? But then when will chapter 2 come out? We'll see how I am with the drawing part of it. I know I'm quite comfortable with drawing and sketching. I can sketch fairly quickly. It's the colouring and doing all the finishing touches and effects and all of that stuff that I don't know how long that will take me. Although I'm hoping I will get quicker at it as time goes on, which my friend has reassured me that I will be, taking all the shortcuts after I finish one chapter and just be like simplifying everything and not caring too much about how the art looks. But I don't know, I have a certain standard about how I want things to look generally, but I also can let go. Okay, alright, I'm ready now. I've been talking for like half an hour. I'm gonna do an hour now, have lunch, and then do another hour after that. And then today I'm drawing with my friends later. Well, we do these like work streams where we work on our own thing, but just like keep each other company. I'm gonna be working on a Kisses in June illustration. Anyway, this devolved into, this existential thing. I feel like, yeah, we're going into unknown territory for sure. We don't know what's going to come out of it. We don't know how the economy is going to change, how our lives will change. I used to be very fearful about AI and the direction that it was heading, but I mean, I can't control humanity on a large scale, so in some ways I've taken myself out of getting too emotional about how the world is and like all of its problems and things like that, because it's overwhelming to bear that type of responsibility. We can only really affect and influence things around us, like the bubble that is around us, the people who surround us, and those we can reach. It's not that we can influence the whole world, or that we should really. We're all different for a reason. And yeah, I'm observing. Anyway, really got it right now. So speak to you another time. I clearly have some sort of backlog of thoughts that I'm wanting to share, but I will speak to you later. Here is my desk setup at the moment. It's stayed quite consistent ever since I completed the cable management, which you can watch in this other vlog. I always feel like I go for function over like aesthetics. I know in my life I'm not the most orderly person, so I think I don't think about matching stuff that much. Like it's kind of, I don't know, there's a few themes going on. There's like this wooden theme, and then there's like this teal theme of like random stuff, and this purple, oh my god, it's like a mismatch. I decided to move my favorite art books onto this side and then use this side more for like things I'm actually looking at actively, because it's like right next to my desk, so I literally just like turn and like grab stuff. So yeah, maybe I'll talk about what's on my screen right now because it looks like a horrible mess. So I'm going to be doing cutaways for the location designs. So I've started out with writing qualities of the particular location I am going to be designing first, which happens to be Key's bedroom. With Key's bedroom, it goes through different states throughout the story. I want to design it as a functional room, and then I will design it in its different states. Without spoiling the story too much. He's a musician, so I want him to have that messy like punk rock vibe. And so I've gathered here some images which I feel like embody the messiness, chaotic, messy, like griminess. I don't think it will be very like extremely messy, but it's also not going to be like super aesthetic and clean. This image is quite accurate to what I'm going for, but I'm going to just organize all of these references now into separate categories. And then I'm going to move on to doing like perspective thumbnails, or like 3/4 thumbnails of the room, and perhaps some what would you call them, layouts? Are they called layouts? You know, the 2D layouts where they're flat, they're just like flat, and then you just, oh, floor plan. Just so I can work out like how it connects to the rest of the house. I will update you once I have some thumbnails. My new stickers arrived. I spent a long time designing these ones. I was very finicky with the shapes and stuff like that, but I'm really happy with how they turned out. They're a lot more holographic than the previous stickers that I got printed, which are the Black & Brick ones. They are the same company, so I think they've changed their material, although I'm not entirely sure if they switched me over to the eco-friendly holographic. This has more of a gloss finish. And you can see the ink a lot clearer, I'd say. This one is more affected by the hollow. But yeah, you could definitely still see the print at certain angles. It just catches the light a lot more. This is more subtle now, which is kind of bizarre because when I first got these, I thought they were very strong. This material is slightly thinner as well, but it's okay, it's a sticker, so it's not a huge deal. But yeah, these are my two designs. I will throw up the artwork as well, so you can have a look. So I managed to finish these stickers just in time for MCM. Hello. So I'm leaving tomorrow morning, and I've pretty much got everything ready. I just have to decide how much of everything I'm gonna bring and what kind of setup I want. I haven't done a mock setup this time, but I think I have a good idea as to what kind of look I'm gonna go for. I did a quick sketch, so I'll show you that. I'm sharing a table, so I have to consider how people who are attending the convention will be able to see me behind the table, because if I used a similar setup to what I used at Dokumi, I think I will be like pretty much hidden from view, which I don't think is ideal. I think it's nice to be able to talk to people. So I've decided to go for a lower type of setup where my books are just flat on the table or slightly raised, and then I have charms on the side. I don't know which side I'm going to be on, but I could easily flip this type of layout. Well, I have an A2 poster at the back, and then I also have my banner on here. Depending on how deep the table is, I'm going to build a cube and like stick prints up here. If I can't do that, I might have to lay prints out somehow on the table or attach them to this. It's quite stripped back. I quite like it though. I want to emphasize the books. I like it. It's quaint.
Wow, they actually separated everything off, so everyone has a backing book.
I'm recording your own podcast. What style did you go?
Mine's clear, matte. Quite worried about what they look.
Yeah, it's always uncertain. I think Zappa are generally quite good.
Yeah,
Drink
they
quality.
seem like good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen these ones.
Yeah, I whipped that out like quite last minute, but I'm like the happiest with that one.
Yeah, it's really nice. I guess you like warmed up with you.
Yeah.
Oh, that one's so cute.
And I shall rest now.
Yeah, I just got all my books. But it was worth it. It usually takes me way longer than that. Yeah. I think if it was half a table, it's not as bad. Day 2. Just on my way to the Excel now. The sun's just coming up, which is nice. On time. It's weird being the only one here. I might set up and then have a quick walk around before the show starts. So I had my bookmark set. Into the back. The colours came out amazing. Super happy with them. This one stands out, but in real life I feel like this was nicer. Like I prefer this one, but it's probably because of the lighter pastel colours, which is just like personal preference. This is subjective really. This one is more eye-catching. Very happy with them. As per usual, I should have brought more bags because I feel like on Friday I filmed more than I expected, and Saturday it tends to be busy on Friday. And I'm leaving.
It's like vibe. Yeah.
Thanks for coming, everyone. So it's currently the 2nd of November and my sketchbook's just arrived. I've just come back from MCM London and I've caught some sort of flu, so ignore the sound of my voice. I'm glad the sketchbooks have arrived. However, there are some colour issues. I printed 4 different designs. Summer Boy Winter Flowers, Mental Vacation, Winter Boy Summer Flowers, and a new design, which is the key design. I feel like that new design I can't sell at all, but the other 3 are okay, so I'll just show you. So they're over here. Ta-da! Okay, so I still have an issue with the colours. They are better than last time when they were printed on leather. The colour that June came out, the blue, was like completely off, whereas the blue and greens here are much closer to my original design, although they're a lot more saturated alongside the colour of the skin. So the skin tones are very red compared to what they should be. I don't think it's a deal breaker on these particular designs because there's quite a lot of colour surrounding their designs, so it kind of allows the skin to not look too red, even though it is. So I can live with this. I feel like they are still nice. They are matching, but I feel like the key design has a stronger silhouette because there's much more negative space in this area, whereas the June design is a lot more covered. I guess it has a different type of vibe, and they're on like opposite sides. So the key one goes all the way like this to the back. Jun is more, because he's on the left side, his face goes over the spine, and then the design on the back is like this. I didn't mention, but these are new. These are not PU leather anymore. They're the new card style. They're also a new size. They're B5 size, which is such a nice size. I think this is my favorite size now. I'm going to print more in this style, in this size. I'm also thinking about increasing my quantities and printing offset so that I can have greater control over the colours in the future, but it all depends on how these sell, how well these sell, and my new designs in the future. So this one's Mental Vacation, also in the card style. Definitely much happier with how this print came out compared with the last one. So yeah, this is the A4 square, also a great size. This one I'm really happy with, but I didn't really order that many of this design, so yeah, it's a bit of a shame. And then I'm going to show you what happened with my final design, which I actually ordered in 2 different styles, and it's the one I also ordered the most of, which is why I'm like really sad right now about the colours. Anyway, let me show you. This is the sample I received like a few months ago, maybe even last year now. It's been a long time. And this one's fine, I've been using it. I was happy with it. This is the first sample I received for card covers, so I was testing out the idea back then. And then I made the full order, and this is how he skinned. This is how it turned out. And he actually looks sunburnt. It's not super obvious, but the blues are also more saturated, which isn't too bad. It's the skin that is the issue. And I think it's exaggerated because of how muted the rest of the colours on this design are, which makes the red just stand out way more than it would have otherwise. And because I have this version too, it just makes it even worse. And so yeah, I'm like kind of lamenting right now, and I don't really know what to do. So I ordered sketchbook versions of these and also notepad versions with dotted paper. If I do end up selling it for a very discounted price, just stick stickers on his face, like honestly. I think maybe I could just sell them like that and you guys can stick things on his face and show me. Okay, brought all the books up and counted them. I am missing 2 June ones. I was thinking about what I said regarding stickers on his face, and I feel like I may have come up with some sort of solution. Since I have so many of this design, because I ordered both notebook versions and sketchbook versions, and apart from the skin, everything else is great, like the build, the finish and everything. I really love these types of card covers as well. So I was thinking about what I said, and I thought, wait a minute, perhaps I could even make a sticker myself that could go over this section and like correct the skin tone, and at the same time maybe add some sort of design element to it. So I've been playing around with some ideas. You guys know how I like my hollow, so I think maybe adding some sort of hollow sticker on top would look really cool, and actually might be something I incorporate in the future with some of my designs. I think it's quite an interesting idea. Because these are card covers now rather than the PU leather, stickers will like adhere to them quite easily. On this design I was thinking of correcting the skin and then having like a hollow dark area. I'm not sure if it'll be curved like this or straight. That's my solution. I feel like it's a better solution than getting them all reprinted, which was like my first reaction. But I'm pretty happy with this solution, and I feel like it will work really well and will give the book a little extra like shininess too, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to order some samples and see how it looks.
Hey. Okay, so I'm starting the storyboarding process, or the thumbnailing process, whatever you want to call it. Because this comic is going to be both printed and a webcomic, I have to consider what format I will be printing the book in, because it's probably easier for me to create the comic in a book format and then reformat it for web. I feel like it will read better in a book form if I do it that way as well. In terms of web, I think it's a bit more flexible because you're not constrained to the physical format, so in some ways it's more forgiving in that sense. Like, I'm also going for a very basic type of paneling. Each page is not going to have a very complex composition. It will very much be like panel by panel, and so I think that also would make it easier to format it after for web. I have the script for volume 1 here. It's probably been about 3 weeks since I finished the script, and I'm just finishing up visdev stuff in the meantime. I've also had a lot of personal stuff going on, so I'm getting around to this a bit later than I anticipated. I'm gonna have to blur this. So volume 1 is 5 chapters long. However, there is also a prologue and an extra at the end, so it's technically 7 chapters long, with also like a half chapter in between, so like 7.5 7.5 chapters long, which doesn't really mean anything because chapter lengths can be however long you want them to be, or short. But for now I'm going to focus on the prologue. So this is the prologue. It's just short of 5 sides long. I wrote my script in like a movie script format. This is the final draft, but I've already thought about reworking some scenes like already in my head. Like the past couple of weeks I've just been thinking about certain character motivations, and I'm like might have to rework certain parts of the volume 1, but I don't think it'll be too difficult. It's mostly just moving around certain dialogue and inserting or taking out particular dialogue that I feel is too revealing for the first volume. But yeah, I'm gonna have to change it as I start paneling. The prologue is fine as it is for right now, so I will be starting the prologue. Last month I settled on having this type of size, which is an American comic issue size format. It's like just over 6.5 inches by 10 and a quarter, 10.25 inches. Translates to 16.5 centimeters by about almost 26 centimeters almost. This is King of Spies, written by Mark Miller and drawn by Matteo Scalera. The series is only 4 issues long. I have the first one and the third one, and then I also have the full book. So this is it with all 4 issues together. I guess I didn't know they were gonna release it like this. I prefer this type of print, like the paper, to this, ironically, but it's nice to support the work. So yeah, I was thinking this type of format would work quite well, but then I also was thinking, because my panels are going to be more simple. So if I show you inside, the panels are kind of, they're not like super complicated. Like there aren't a lot of breakaway panels like there is in manga sometimes. It is still just blocked out like this and then sequential. Oh, sorry. But I think I'm gonna go even simpler than... Okay, this is not simple artwork, I'm just talking about the panels themselves, like the formatting of the panels. Here you can just see there's just like 4 panels. But then I was looking at my ping pong book, because ping pong is one of my favorite manga and I feel like it's one of my biggest artistic influences. And yeah, I was just observing the paneling in ping pong. Each panel is just like bang, 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 bang. Like sometimes you'll see in manga, like the characters will be like a full body shot of the character and they won't be in a panel necessarily. They'll just kind of be on like on top of the panels. Like that's not the type of comic that I want to make personally. I'm more drawn to this style. And so I was comparing this type of, like the number of panels as well on each page. So ping pong versus, because this is Japanese, right? This is American. So although there's like lots of crossover these days. But this is the English translation of ping pong. And so I grabbed my Japanese, one of my Japanese versions. And funnily enough, the book size is actually the same as this one, as the American issue, which is great to know actually. It's just that the margins are a lot bigger. Well, he goes right up there. I mean, I guess that could be something you cut off. It doesn't start right at the edge, whereas for this, there isn't much of a margin at the top. So now that I've decided on the ratio that the book will be printed in, I'm going to create little like frames for my page layout thumbnails. So on average, oh, this is a heavy, panel heavy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so this is a really heavy page in terms of panels. It has 9 panels, but the majority of this manga only has around between 3 to 6 panels on each page, which I really like that aspect of it. Yeah, so that's what I'm aiming for my own comic as well. So I'm going to measure this, make a template, and then lay everything out in one go. And then I'm going to go through my script, identify the beats, and then go from there, I suppose. A lot of the first pass is trying to get over those initial hurdles of actually figuring out what I'm doing. And so I think after I've done my first pass, there's a high chance that I will redo it depending on the outcome. In terms of this scene, I have quite a lot of mental imagery already, and I built a 3D model location for this scene too, which I will use to facilitate the storyboarding. There's a lot of things in my mind that I want to add in the model, but it would actually take longer to do it in 3D with my limited skills than to just draw it later in 2D. So I've just done the bare bones of the model, which I'll show you at some point. And I still have a lot of writing to do when it comes to like volume 2, and it's just going to be like a continuous layering of the steps that need to be taken in order to complete the whole thing. But yeah, I'm also moving next month, so that will also add to like the delay time. So I suppose I don't really have 8 weeks. I probably have about 4 to 5 weeks realistically, like a month. Yeah, realistically I have about that amount of time, which I think it could be okay. I'm not trying to make it absolutely perfect because that's not something that exists, and so yeah, it's probably best to work within constraints and to just do what I can within that time frame and hit that deadline. For now, that's it. I guess I'll check in with you later.
We arrived at Bubble. I drove down this time. I didn't really have time to record any of the prep because I was a bit late.
Propagating my monstera today. I have trimmed him a little over time, but he grew pretty well. But I can't take him with me at this size. Look at the roots. I haven't really tended to them recently. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Look at this thing. Look how long these roots are. Oh my god. This is just the aftermath of me packing everyone's order over the last day. Thanks to everyone who ordered. I got more orders than I expected, so I'm very grateful for that. I was going to move down to London on Thursday, and I was going to open my shop on Friday and then just pack everything at the end of the month or in January and have it shipped then. However, the boiler broke in the flat that I'm moving to, so I ended up moving my move-in date to Monday, which gave me an extra 4 days to prepare everything. So I thought I'll still open the shop on Friday, but I will also try and pack everyone's order, everyone who makes an order within the first 48 hours, so that I can dispatch them on Monday morning. I've not packed this many orders in a day for like a long time, so I'm pretty proud of myself that I was able to do it, and just shows that I can do it. But it took me like the whole day on Saturday. I still have this design that I was showing you. I think I will hopefully get that sorted for another shop launch in either January or February. Thank you very much, everybody. Hi everyone, I thought I would pick up my camera. I'm just about to head out and get some food. I have been in London for about a week and a half, and like it's nearly Christmas. Christmas is next week, and I'm trying to catch up on work and get back into a routine. Yeah, my room is pretty much set up now at this point, but I'm only going to be here for about 3 months before I have to move again, so I don't want to do too much. So it's kind of plain. I'll show you a little bit. This bookshelf is like the person I'm subletting the place from. This is their bookshelf with most of their books. I do have a few as well on this side. Over here, these are for my comic and writing, and this is my setup. So it's pretty good. The table is massive, so I'm able to fit everything that I need on here, and so yeah, works really well. I'm hoping the next place I move to, I'll be able to fit a desk in there, but London is not the cheapest place to live. I also had to bring my cat. He's over here, he's chilling. He's been settling, he's okay. He's 7 years old now, can you believe it? And
It's the first time he's ever moved, but he's done really well. I'm gonna go get food now. I am working on the comic and I really want to show you guys the pages, and I think that's probably going to be my next little update on here. Yeah, I'm gonna leave you now. Goodbye.